From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay, we'll soon hear the crack of the bat saying baseball season's underway, but the wood used to make those bats may be in jeopardy. Team coverage from this year's Commodity Classic, where many people are keeping an eye on China.
We think we're about 85 to 90% there in terms of getting an agreement.
Well, even if we see a resolution to the trade war with China, what is the path forward to get China's buying of soybeans back to levels pre-trade war? We'll ask the American Soybean Association CEO today on AgDay.
AgDay, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of AgDay from the 2019 Commodity Classic in Orlando, Florida. I'm Clinton Griffiths, and wow, what a time for our largest grain commodity groups to get together for a meeting of the minds. Farmers from across the country and members of the corn, soybean, wheat, and sorghum industries are on hand for this annual event. For many, the pre-planting meeting helps set the pace for policy in the year ahead. And this year, while many issues have answers, like the Farm Bill, Waters of the U.S. rule, even the USMCA, there are others left open-ended, including negotiations with China and what proposed purchases from such a deal may or may not mean for American farmers.
Think of it this way, in 2017, the U.S. exported $140 billion of ag goods. This China trade deal is looking at $30 billion of additional demand on top of where we were before the trade war. If I use 2017 as a benchmark, that equals out to $50 billion because 2017 we did almost 20. That's a lot of stuff.
Now to the trade front, the U.S. Trade Representative's office has filed papers to suspend the scheduled tariff increase until further notice. That means the U.S. is abandoning, for now, its threat to raise tariffs to 25% on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. But tariffs already in place have apparently hurt many Chinese manufacturers. A new survey shows Chinese manufacturing activity fell to a 3-year low in February. Meanwhile, a Chinese ambassador is saying aspects of a possible trade deal with the U.S. that require legislation could take up to 10 years to put in place. But China is continuing to buy U.S. ag products. New weekly export sales numbers show China bought 1.8 million metric tons of soybeans. That's out of a net sale of 2.1 million, with beans also sold to the Netherlands and Germany, among others. Corn had net sales of 1.2 million metric tons. The biggest buyers were Mexico, Japan, and South Korea. Our own Tyne Morgan's also on hand. She talked to the American Soybean Association about their concerns that the trade negotiations between the U.S. and China could have long-lasting impacts. Tyne?
Yeah, here now is someone that's really feeling the impacts of this trade war. Ryan Finley, CEO of American Soybean Association. You know, soybeans, Ryan, have been in the headlines. It doesn't matter if it's ag media, mainstream media. It's all about soybeans right now. Where do we set today? So many mixed reports on how much we've actually exported this marketing year to China. Where do we set?
We sit with tariffs on U.S. beans from China, and we have to get rid of those tariffs so that we can move our soybeans from the United States to China, which was our biggest market until the last year.
How much have we moved?
We are right around that 15 million metric tons right now, and that is only if we include the commitment from China in the last week to actually purchase an additional 10 million metric tons. And that is out of what we would normally see between 30 and 35 million metric tons, so less than half of what we would typically sell.
So even with some of these promises, we're still below where we were. And when you look at some of the comments that's being made from this administration saying, you know, they're confident that after the trade war ends, after we see a resolution, that we'll see China's buying back to pre-trade war levels. Ryan, are you confident in that?
We would love to see China purchase right back to where they were. Unfortunately, USDA's own information last week during the Ag Outlook conference made it look like it could be another 6 to 8 years before we get back to normal trading levels, normal being what we saw in 2017.
So you think even if we see some type of resolution, it's going to take a while to get back to that level we were?
It really could, but I think our response to the administration right now is let's get rid of the tariffs, let's get back to as much of a market-based focus as we can, and that would be really helpful.
Yeah, trade topic of discussion, not only with American Soybean Association, but really all the commodity organizations right here. Reporting from Commodity Classic in Orlando, Florida, I'm Tyne Morgan for AgDay.
This could be a big win for America's farmers. The U.S. has won a World Trade Organization dispute with China. A panel finding China provided excessive government support to its grain producers, saying China's market price support policy artificially raises Chinese prices for grains above market levels, and that creates incentives for increased Chinese production of ag products, thereby cutting imports. It's a case grain industry leaders have been watching very closely.
We're losing roughly about $640 million a year in revenue due to internal subsidies that the Chinese government is giving to their wheat growers.
Now, the case started back in December of 2016. That's when the U.S. asked for the panel to consider whether China provides market price support for rice, wheat, and corn in excess of China's domestic support commitments. Officials say compliance with the rules should increase market forces in China, leading to a more level playing field. Also out of Washington, remnants of the government shutdown, USDA releasing its 2019 cattle inventory numbers. USDA reporting cattle inventory up slightly, totaling 94.8 million head. Beef cows are in at 31.8 million head. That's up 1% from a year ago. Milk cows, 9.35 million head, down 1%. Heifers totaling 20.2 million head. That's just slightly above last year. Beef replacement heifers, they were down 3%. Milk replacement heifers down 1%. Now, the 2018 calf crop, it estimated at 36.4 million head, up 2%. Last year, Commodity Classic, ethanol, renewable fuel credits, refinery waivers were all hot-button issues. This year, there's new leadership in Washington, but questions about ethanol's future remain. Speaking about E15 and whether it would be implemented in time for the summer driving season, Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue originally telling the House Ag Committee on Thursday he didn't think it would happen in time. But Perdue later shared a picture on Twitter showing him meeting with acting EPA head Andrew Wheeler, saying appreciate him moving expeditiously to finalize E15 rule before the start of the summer driving season. Perdue explaining to the Senate Ag Committee on Friday how he misspoke earlier.
I was speaking on the latest information I had. I was overruled by the acting administrator yesterday who, based on his confirmation hearings and his vote today, I think has committed once again to drive his troops in order to get that done by June the 1st.
No.
Wheeler restating the message, telling reporters they are working hard to get it done before that summer driving season. It's pretty hard to complain about the weather when you're in Florida. Meteorologist Cindy Clausen joins us from our studios in northern Indiana. And Cindy, it's my suspicion that not everybody across the country is quite so lucky temperature-wise.
That's right, Clinton. The snow and cold are continuing in parts of the country, and too much snow is a problem for many right now in Wisconsin. Take a look at Tony Mellenthin's farm shop. He says he had a few sheds collapse in the weekend blizzard. He says he is very thankful for insurance. Let's take a look at the wind forecast as we head through the next day and a half or so. We're going to be seeing the strongest winds anywhere from the southwestern United States into parts of the northern plains. That's going to be the focus as we head through today. Things calm down a little bit tonight, but they really start to spread into the upper Midwest, especially as we head through our Saturday all the way back down. We see those winds really blossom in the southwest United States as another low pressure system starts to head towards that area. I'll have a lot more coming up on your forecast, but for now, here are some hometown temps.
Introducing Farm Journal TV, on demand 24/7. AgDay, Machinery Pete TV. U.S. Farm Report on your phone and tablet. Download the Farm Journal TV mobile app today.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about markets and the risk of getting bored in times of low volatility. And later, loggers in New England are racing against beetles in hopes of saving trees and their livelihoods.
AgDay, brought to you by Precision Planting, provider of practical and effective precision ag technologies to help make farmers smarter every season. Learn more at precisionplanting.com.
We're in Florida, but the heat is in Chicago on the floor of the CME. Let's take a look at Thursday's action from the floor.
Hello, and an update on the wheat market. Extremely oversold and probing for some type of a near-term low. First factor for the market, while ending stocks look to decline for the fourth season in a row, a little bit decline, but still May 2019 wheat is trading down 7.3% from the same point at the end of February that May 2018 wheat was trading at. May wheat currently has a relative strength index at 18.7%. This is the lowest since August of 2017. Its extreme oversold level were 47 cents or 13.9% off of the February high. We'd watch for signs of a short-term low soon.
Trading through the doldrums of winter can always be a challenge, especially when markets are moving in a pretty tight range. There's always the risk of getting bored. Tyne Morgan picks up the conversation in today's analysis from the road.
Here now, Chip Nellinger, Blue Reef Agri-Marketing. Chip, I hear from a lot of producers who, of course, they're frustrated right now with commodity prices, but more frustrated that we're just kind of stuck in this range-bound, stagnant price range. What is the risk in kind of getting bored with these markets right now?
Yeah, I think there's two risks. I mean, it is frustrating. I'm frustrated in them. We're going sideways, 5-6 month 20-cent trading range in corn. It just wears you down. So I think there's two main risks. Number one, there's a risk of being complacent, just kind of forgetting the markets. Corn moves 3 cents a day, it's going nowhere, so you forget about the markets, and now is the time you need to be planning for that eventual breakout. We will break out of this range and see volatility, but you have to have a plan. So complacency is the first risk. The second risk is, as these markets are frustrating and just grinding nowhere, is in that frustration, oftentimes we make poor marketing decisions. And so I think it's a double-edged sword there. It's definitely not a time to forget about the markets, even though they're going sideways. Do some planning and don't get caught up in the frustration and make a poor marketing decision just because it's something to do and you're frustrated with the markets.
Yeah, in times like this, when we've been range bound so long, is there more opportunity for when prices do break out for us to see a pretty big break that growers could capture?
Absolutely, absolutely. The longer we go sideways in these trading ranges, typically the more violent the breakout will be. It can come both ways, right? We hope it's to the upside, but if it's to the downside, that's a signal as well, and that's the hardest thing in the world to do, is sell in a downtrending market, but sometimes that's the right thing to do. So absolutely, as we go sideways and build this base, we are going to see volatility. It might take a while, it might still be an exercise in patience, but we're going to break out of these ranges and probably do it in a pretty dramatic fashion.
Okay, Chip Nellinger, thank you so much for joining us. Let's take a quick break, and then we have much more to cover today on Ag Day.
Farming has changed. Markets are riskier than ever. For customized, focused commodity marketing, contact Chip Nellinger or Adam Dreyer at 309-550-7213.
Welcome back to Ag Day. We're in Orlando, Florida for the 2019 Commodity Classic. Meteorologist Cindy Clausen joins us again. And Cindy, it sounds like it may be a couple of weeks or more before we see a widespread warm-up across the country.
Yeah, it really depends on where you are as well. And if you are in the north central and northeastern United States, be prepared for that cold to be sticking around a little bit longer. Here's a look at the jet stream. And as we head through Friday, still a bit of zonal flow, so the temperatures aren't too bad, but watch what happens as we start to see a trough coming across the north central United States and into the northeast. So it's going to be a chilly start to March in a lot of these areas. We'll see another kind of weak trough that comes our way as we get towards the end of next week. Temperatures still somewhat normal as you get into the southern United States, but we're going to see a lot of ups and probably more downs in the northern part of the country. Let's take a look at the Drought Monitor. This is the latest U.S. Drought Monitor, and boy, have we seen a lot of change over the past 4 weeks. We've really seen some improvement out in the west, although in many cases it's been too much all at once. But we are seeing a lot of improvement as far as that long-term drought. Here's a look at our forecast map for today. We've got some Stormy weather in the southeastern United States, the northern fringe of that being some perhaps freezing rain and some snow. We've got a system in the north central United States, and we're going to see more active weather out west with several fronts going on. Another system that's going to be approaching as we get into our Friday. We'll look for some snow, especially into the upper Midwest, rain into the southeast and into the mid-Atlantic as we head into tonight. Everything progresses off to the east, and unfortunately looks like we might see some more heavy rain and heavy snow, especially in the southern 2/3 of California. More snow starts to move into parts of the northern and central plains as we head through our Saturday forecast, and we'll see some more active weather coming into the south central United States as well. Now, as far as the snowfall estimate, this is the past 24 hours. You can see kind of here in the mid-Atlantic states, we've had some snow and some of those higher elevations out in the west, and as we move forward into time, we're going to see a lot more, especially when that next system comes into California. A lot of the Rockies there, and we're going to be seeing that snow spreading into the upper Midwest and towards the Great Lakes area. As far as liquid precipitation, you can see a lot of that in the southeast, especially along the Gulf Coast, but add in the next 24 hours, you see that really filling in the southeast, and you see that starting to come into California once again. Temperature-wise, we are almost balmy if you look at Bismarck with a high temperature of 16, very warm down in the south. But as you get into the overnight hours, don't get used to that warmer air because we're going to be down below zero for tomorrow morning in the north central United States. And then as we see our highs tomorrow, yeah, it's going to be another cold day with temperatures a little bit closer to normal as you get down into the south. That's your national forecast. Now let's check on the weather where you live. Big Timber, Montana, cloudy with some snow showers today and a high of 22 degrees. New London, Wisconsin, snow showers likely, especially later today with a high of 26. And Smithfield, North Carolina, some rain for you with a high of 48.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the need for farmers to tell their story to consumers, or the need to advocate, and later harvesting ash trees before a killer takes hold in the country to New England, coming up.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
With so few people living and working in agriculture today, the opportunity for confusion, misinformation, even untruths is a very real issue. Which is why for 14 years, Bayer Crop Sciences has held its advocacy forum leading up to the Commodity Classic. This year, I was lucky enough to help lead that conversation between researchers, scientists, farmers, and food companies, focused on finding common ground and learning how to communicate about connecting farming to technology and sustainability. The growers at the event say, now's the time to speak up.
It's been something that we've talked about for years, and I thought it was something that, I had the ability to do and that it was something that I like to do. For the most part, if anyone asks for an interview, then I'm probably going to grant it. Because it's important that we tell our story and that we're available for the media, because if we're not, they're going to find someone that is, unfortunately, and they may not be able to carry the same message that we would like them to carry.
About 150 journalists and social media influencers were on hand for the day-and-a-half event. One of the highlights included a conversation between a food company working on creating protein from chicken and beef cells and the 2018 NCBA president and California rancher, Kevin Kester. Such a fun and worthwhile event to be a part of. I expect many more conversations in the future. All right, a popular wood used in furniture and baseball bats is at risk. We'll tell you what's being done coming up next. Spring training is underway at baseball parks across the South, but one of the most popular woods used in the bats of big league hitters is ash. And according to New England foresters, supplies may be at risk.
Loggers are cutting down ash trees before an invasive beetle kills them. The emerald ash borer is gnawing its way through the eastern United States. The sturdy blonde wood is highly prized for furniture, especially in China, where demand has boomed in recent years. The wood is also tough enough for baseball bats, but the ash trees are no match for the beetle.
Emerald ash borer is probably the most thorough killing machine that we've come across in my career over the last 35 years.
Since it was first spotted in Michigan in 2002, the beetle has killed tens of millions of ash trees and has been detected in more than 30 states. Larvae bore tunnels beneath the outer bark, cutting off the tree's flow of nutrients and water. Upstate New York still has unaffected areas. Lumber companies like Wagner are cutting more ash while the trees are still alive to harvest the wood. The beetle can be in a tree for several years before it starts showing signs of decay.
Realistically, when you look at this stand here, it could be here. We're just not seeing evidence of it.
Ash exports dropped last year amid a trade dispute with China, but the lumber remains popular. This mill is cutting more than ever, until they can't anymore. Michael Hill, Associated Press, Owego, New York.
And that's going to wrap us up for this special edition of Ag Day from the 2019 Commodity Classic in Orlando. I'm Clinton Griffiths. From all of us here at Ag Day, have a great day out in farm country.